everybody, glad you could make it. My name is Kaylee Ellen and today I want to talk a little bit more about my Invisalign treatment. My thoughts so far, how life has been going, and a general progress update. Because there are some things, I'm gonna say that, there are some things that have happened. If you don't know what Invisalign is, it is a method of straightening your teeth using clear aligners that you only take out to basically eat or drink. They are said to be invisible, but I prefer the term barely visible because you can kind of see them. If this is the first video you're watching about my Invisalign, I do have another video where I talk about my teeth and I do a mini review after the first week of wearing them. I will leave a link to that down below in the description if you're interested. It's much more in depth than this one though, so if that's something you're looking for, you might want to watch that first. A little bit about my treatment. My treatment is supposed to last 28 weeks and I change to a new tray every single week. So the first thing I want to talk about is my general experience so far. I've been on Invisalign for around 18 weeks now and I can honestly say that it's become kind of like part of my daily life. Like I don't think about it anywhere near as much as I did in the beginning in the first video that you may or may not have seen. I feel a lot more normal about it, if that makes any sense. In my first video, I mentioned that as soon as I got my Invisalign and I had, my week 1 of my training, that I didn't get any pain. And I was quite surprised by that. Honestly though, even now when I switch to a new tray, personally, I still don't feel any pain. What I tend to find is that week to week, if I'm a couple of days onto a tray and the movement is happening, they do hurt a little bit when removing my aligners to eat or to drink. But the pain is only really when I pop off the back and then it places like pressure on the front of my teeth, like I can't really do it, but like this when you tip the aligner forward before I pop them off. So that's the only time when they really hurt, and that's towards, the beginning of a new tray, shall we say. Once they're off, that's it. There's no pain. It's super brief. So it's not really worth mentioning, but I thought I would mention it. It can sometimes be a little bit difficult to chew certain foods once you're a couple of days into a tray, so things are just starting to move. It's not really painful though, it just feels like there's a lot of pressure and it's a little bit uncomfortable. But on the whole, eating is fine. One thing I have noticed over the course of my treatment though is the difference in my palate. So over my treatment so far, my palate has changed an awful lot, like an awful lot. I'll show you at the end of the video kind of, how everything is, but I have noticed some differences already. I often find that when I'm not wearing my Invisalign and I try to bite down, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like my teeth have obviously moved and the contact points in my mouth are very different to what they used to be. So it feels really weird biting down as the teeth have moved, but they haven't been able to wear down, if that makes sense. So it feels kind of janky whenever I try and bite things. That doesn't really bother me because while I'm wearing my aligners, I can't feel any of that, but I just found it super weird. I asked my dentist about it and she said that it's normal, but it's also a good thing because it means that my palate has become what she called desynchronized, which basically does mean I now don't know what I'm doing. And as my bite needed correcting in the first place, it means that I've already broken my bad habits. So she said that was great. So if that happens to you, that's probably a really good thing that that's happened to you. It means that you're on the right track and your palate is getting corrected to the point where it now doesn't resemble what it used to before. So that's a really good sign of progress, actually, even though I find it really weird. Now then, this is like the main thing that I wanted to talk about today on my little mini update, and that is my experience with staining. So let's talk about some staining. Obviously, in my first video, when I did that original video, I had only worn my first set of aligners for 1 week. So I didn't eat any foods that potentially cause staining or drink any liquids that would cause staining, other than, I think it was like 1 cup of tea in the morning or something. I have since. So naturally, over the course of a week, your aligners will tint ever so slightly yellow. That's actually completely unavoidable. I know, like, we all want to keep our aligners like super, super clear, but it is, and I checked with my dentist, by the way, it is kind of unavoidable that they will tint a little bit. And this is because your saliva and your plaque are constantly in contact with the retainer. So no matter how much you brush them, it's still going to happen to a degree. Now that can be very minimal, obviously, but it will still happen. So if you avoid all food and drink that stain your teeth, you're not going to notice any of this, really. It's just going to be so slight when you put them down on a white surface. You might think, hey, they're not like super, super clear. There's a slight tinge. If you eat, however, staining foods or drinks, it's a totally different story. Because even if you brush your teeth afterwards, which obviously you should be, your tongue may still get stained. And cleaning your tongue and getting the staining effect off is very, very difficult to do for most people, including me. Because I really struggle with that. There are certain foods that I'm avoiding completely due to this effect. I'm not going to lie to you. The main one is curry. You may have heard this before. I learned this one the hard way, but if you want to eat curry or something similar, do it the night before you change your trays. Okay. For example, if I change trays every Tuesday night, say, and I want to eat a curry of some description, I would eat the curry on a Monday night. Now, if I did it on Tuesday night before I switched to a new aligner, a brand new tray, the new aligner is probably definitely going to become stained and I'd have to wear that for a whole week. It's not sexy. Just don't do it. Honestly, you think that you're not going to get stained because you've eaten something like a curry and you brush your teeth, but seriously, it's still there and it's still on your tongue. It needs a lot more time to disappear. So I really recommend doing it the night before you change your trays, not on the night you change your trays. Big tip. Please follow it. It's probably going to save you. I started this process by cutting out all fizzy drinks. I'm going to be completely honest with you here and tell you that Pepsi has unfortunately crept back into my diet too, which sucks, and I am trying to cut that out again, but I have found that if I take my aligners out to drink a can of Pepsi, I'll brush my teeth and pop my aligners in. But my tongue, again, same as the curry, it's often still stained. So it does affect the aligners. Not a lot, don't get me wrong, but a little bit. I find that most of the staining will be at the back of the aligner and not the front, so you won't really see it if that happens to you. As it mixes with the saliva in your mouth, it can tinge the front, but it's not going to be that obvious. As long as you're brushing your teeth, you're going to be okay. I do not recommend doing that without brushing your teeth. Don't do it. I have done it. Okay? I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have done it. It's not sexy. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Honestly, my best advice at this point is to have a day each week that is the equivalent of what a cheat day is in terms of fitness. I know that sounds a little bit odd, but stay with me. So in terms of fitness, what people usually do when they're focusing quite heavily on their fitness, you eat well all week and you stick to your healthy diet. And on one day each week, you essentially eat what you want, whether that's for the whole day or just one meal. In terms of Invisalign, I would honestly try and cut most things out that are staining all the time and have that one day or night before you change your trays that you can have whatever you want, whether that's a curry or anything of the sort. That's what I honestly recommend doing. I recommend treating the whole thing a little bit how a lot of people would approach fitness. And personally, I think that works a little bit better if you still want to have nice things, because nobody wants to have Invisalign and just be eating non-staining foods forever. It's nice in theory, but I don't think it's going to keep up for a lot of people. So that's my best advice there. Now, in terms of preventing staining, slightly different. In terms of keeping the aligners clear and preventing staining over time, I would use a denture cleaning tab as much as you possibly can. Those little blue tabs that you drop into a glass of water and they fizz and you pop your aligners in. They're normally blue tinted. It doesn't tint the aligners. I've tried. I've also tried dropping aligners into pure mouthwash, and I found that on some occasions worked better than keeping the aligners in the denture tabs. It really depends on the mouthwash. I do brush my aligners with toothpaste as well before I put them back in. I've heard people say don't use toothpaste, but honestly, I don't know why people are saying that. It hasn't affected my aligners at all. So when I finish brushing my teeth, I just go around my aligners. It doesn't take very long, it takes about 30 seconds, and I just brush all the way around, make sure I get into all the little crevices where the buttons are, and then very quickly around the outside of the aligners as well, because the plaque gets there too, right in between where the teeth are, and I remove it that way. And I've had no problems. So in terms of removing bad stains, i.e. you've eaten something and now your aligners are visibly quite yellow, I want to do a full video on that actually. So I'm not really going to go into it because honestly, it's a bit of a minefield and it really would take a whole video to kind of to show you and to really talk about it. So if you'd like to see a video genuinely about removing stains that exist on your aligners, please leave a comment down below and I will be sure to do that video for you. And it'll be a bit sciencey, a little bit experimenty, and we can try some different things and basically see what is more effective than other things at removing stains, because there's a lot out there on the internet of different ways to remove stains, and I tried them and not all of them worked. A video on that would be quite cool. So if you want to see that, leave a comment down below and we will get to it and we will do some experimentation with some of my old aligners that I'm going to stain for you, and we'll see how well it removes the stains. Right, the meat of this video is probably going to be about refinements. So people that follow me on my Instagram may remember that about 8 weeks ago, I posted on my Instagram that my Invisalign tray wasn't fitting properly on one of my teeth. It was actually on this top one here. I contacted my dentist and she advised me to stay on exactly the same tray I was currently on at the time, which was tray 11, and to not switch trays before my next appointment, which was a week later. So I would have switched trays on the day I went to see her, so it would have been the day that I would switch to tray 12. She told me not to, just keep 11 in. So I actually took my tray 12 when I went to see her, hoping I would get to put it in, but it didn't go down like that. So I had a feeling that this might have meant refinements before I went to the dentist. I didn't really know what I was in for. Like, you know, people don't really talk about it. Like, are refinements immediate? Do you stop your treatment and do them then and there? Do you just do them at the end of the treatment? How long does the process take? What is involved? Like, how do refinements work? And luckily for you guys, I'm going through the pain that is refinements and I have the answer. So I went to my appointment and my dentist confirmed that one of my front teeth, this one here, hadn't really moved much since my last checkup, which was 6 weeks prior, I think. She told me that these teeth here on either side of your two front teeth are essentially notorious for not moving. They don't move very well. And it was a common problem that people have whilst having Invisalign. It's a common thing for these teeth to not move and to need refinements. So she basically told me that I needed refinements and I was like, cool, what are we doing now? She took the attachment of this tooth right here, which was the only tooth affected, or should I say not affected by the treatment. And she basically ran a full Invisalign scan again. So that whole stuff with the wand that went on the first time, she did the whole mouth again. And apparently you have to remove the attachments or you can't obviously get a proper scan on that tooth to recalibrate. So all the other attachments were on, my Invisalign was taken out, and this attachment was removed and we did a full scan. So she did this scan and she was like, right, I'm going to request a much larger attachment for your front tooth. And believe me, it's huge and I will show you it in a bit. So I had to wear, while this request for basically a fresh scan got sent off, I had to wear my then current aligner, there's a new one in now, that I'd already worn for about 2 weeks at this point. So it was already tinging a little bit, it was already a bit nasty. I had to wear this, I think for an additional, was it 6 to 8 weeks in total? I think I wore it for. So I must have done an additional 4 weeks on this aligner whilst I was waiting for these checks. And it meant about 6 weeks in total. I think that's how long it was. Let me tell you, it was pretty gross. That's how I know that things stain over time and there's nothing you can do about it. It just went nasty. Like the day that I got a new aligner in, I was so happy because it was so beautifully white. It felt like my teeth had been whitened. It was great. Long story short about that anyway, when I did come back, my aligners were so badly stained, it genuinely affected my confidence a lot. And I didn't expect that side effect from essentially waiting for these new trays. But I want to mention it because I don't want to put anyone off Invisalign, but I want people to know that this is what happens. So when you go and you get refinements, it's probably going to be done then and there, and you're probably going to have to go away with your tray, obviously, while they make new ones, and you won't get to wear your other trays. You will have to stop, throw them away. There is no point to having them. It did affect my confidence because my trays stained down quite badly. They look okay now. In some of my other videos on my channel, I could see that they were turning, and it was just, honestly, it was horrible. So I'm really pleased to have a new one, but I wanted to mention that is a thing. So anyway, it eventually came to fitting day. I sat down in the chair. She showed me the new scans, which showed the new attachments. And I got a little bit of a surprise because not only did I have a new attachment on the front, I also had some new ones on my back teeth as well, right at the back where the molars are. I think the top and bottom, I can't remember specifically because she didn't really show me, she just put them on. I was honestly pretty happy about this though, because I thought to myself, well, if it saves future refinements, then I'm all for it, really. Plus I thought, well, gosh, if this hasn't been caught the first time, then I probably needed them anyway at some point, right? If now I need them on the back and I wasn't assigned them the first time, then this is really great that they're on now. So she clicked in the new trays, and honestly, they fit 10 times better than my first set. They were absolutely fantastic. The previous ones weren't attached at the back, and I may have mentioned it, I don't know if I did. They weren't super snug, so I ended up kind of like gnawing at the tray a lot to push it. It was like a really bad habit that I developed with my tray. So these ones fit so well, it stopped me doing that, which is absolutely great. It's less trauma on my teeth. But I had that done. I had my new trays in. They fit really well. I was like, yes, this is brilliant. I'm so happy about this. And everything was going really well until she did the usual thing where she gives me my next 6 trays because I like to go back to her every 6 weeks. And she gave me the little bag with my new trays in, and I looked at the packaging. And I looked down and it said aligner 1 out of 26. And I was like, hold up, okay. So my treatment is supposed to be for 28 weeks in total. Now remember, I've already done 11 weeks at this point on this, on the normal aligners, and then I've had to wait another 4 weeks on the same aligner. So I'm already at, 15, 16 weeks, roundabout, right, by the time this has happened. And then I get my new trays, and it says 1 out of 26. And I was basically like, I'm confused. Is this like a mistake? This seems wrong. It's like I'm starting it all over again. And she was like, no, that's right. That's for 26 weeks. And I'm like, but I've already done 11 weeks. Like, what? But does that not count for anything at all? Like, it doesn't seem right. No one says this on the internet. I don't know what's going on. Surely this is not right. I hate to tell you this, but that is confirmed. That's how it works. So nobody told me that at all. So now I'm essentially starting again on the whole thing. It's like I've never had Invisalign. That kind of sucks because I really want my teeth done, obviously. I understand it's a process. I think I took it like a champ because I honestly thought, you know what, I'm just pleased to have a new aligner in that isn't yellow. But I was a little bit annoyed about the idea of that for about an hour. I think after about an hour had passed of thinking about it, to be honest, I was kind of okay. Because when you wear Invisalign for this long, it does become kind of normal. So when you first start, it's a thing and you're very hyper aware of it. But now I'm kind of not. So I thought, you know what, it's fine. My teeth are still getting straightened. It'll be good. It's a process. It may have had to happen anyway. It's essentially about the end result, right? So I was kind of okay about that by the time that, I had some time to think about it, basically. I was kind of fine about it. But I wanted to mention that because I don't think people know that's how refinements actually work. My dentist said it basically isn't safe to play catch up with AJ, that tooth that didn't move, because if you move it faster, it's just not safe. Basically, teeth should only move so far in a given period of time. So each week, for example, and that's why it's 26 weeks and not 17 weeks, which is what I would have had left, I think. So that would have taken me to the original 28 weeks if I had another 17 left. I am on effectively tray 1 F26. So I've saved 2 weeks, I suppose, in the refinement. I will show you what they look like. They're not the whitest teeth in the world, but a lot has changed. I will do my best to show you this. I can't really remember how I showed you them originally, but I'll do a quick tour of them now. So that's that side. That was always the straightest side. So it's still looking good. It's, again, not as far forward as it should be. The two front teeth, they're actually, one is longer than the other at the minute because one has moved position. You might not be able to tell. I don't know. I can't come any closer really. I wonder if I can zoom you in a little bit. Let me just try. Let's try there. Yeah, okay. This is better, isn't it? That's great. So these here, one is longer than the other. I'm not sure which way it is. I'm trying to like adjust my head so it's straight. I think this one here is longer than this tooth here. That's just to get them straight along the top, I guess. My snarl on this side, sorry, I'm looking in a mirror. My snarl on this side is still present, but it's not as bad as what it was, I don't think. It's definitely come down a little bit. It's got a long way to go, but generally it's a little bit lower. Now the main improvement, trust me, the main improvement is my bottom teeth because they look incredible. So if I do this, the difference now, you know what they were before, the gap that would normally be there if I did that is kind of gone, really. There is still a gap on here. You just can't really see it because this tooth's really starting to face forward. But that is kind of what they look like. Not only that, but if I do this, this here has become so much rounder than what it was as well. So although it might not seem like there are a ton of improvements, there really are. It might just be something that I can see that you guys can't see. I mean, the people that can really probably tell are people who watch my videos on my main channel every week. A couple of people have said, look, I can see it working, it's looking great. No one said anything recently, but that's probably because I had the same tray in 4 weeks. But I do think it's made a difference. Obviously, we have a long way to go. I'm now on week 1 of 26. So you'll get another update in, say, 3 months. I will do another one so we can really document this and really see how it's going. But there is a difference. I know there's a difference. This side is like way up. It needs to come the hell down. This side's looking great. Definitely much better. And this is looking fantastic. I'll just pull that down. I can't talk while I'm doing it, obviously. There. Ah. It's so much wider. And that is something I've noticed, actually. I forgot to mention this. So the main thing I've noticed about my palate is that it's wider. So when I used to smile, if I do it now, I would smile and I'd have huge gaps here. And I might have mentioned it on my first video. I honestly can't remember, guys. But it's definitely widened out. So my teeth were a little bit more like this in my mouth. They're now a little bit more like this. And it's just meant that when I smile, like the teeth are really starting to fill my mouth a lot more. And my smile, I can tell when it's finished, it's going to look a lot prettier. Like a lot prettier. So I'm really quite happy about that. But oh, my lips are so bad at the minute. That's essentially what is going on with my teeth. No, they're not the whitest teeth in the world. You couldn't really tell last time because the lights were too bright, but they're not the whitest teeth on planet Earth. They're going to be improved tenfold. Like in a year's time, I'm going to have just teeth just so different to this. I'm going to look back at myself and just wonder how on earth I even managed with teeth like that. It's going to be bizarre. But yeah, that is them now. Not amazing. They're getting better. There's definitely an improvement. So I really wanted to talk to you about that and show you the updates because that's why we're here, right? So that is today's video. That's essentially what I wanted to do for you guys. I just want to run, and I mean, I did run through it reasonably quickly this time, run through very quickly the things I found, the things that have happened, suggestions for other videos. I will do another update in around about 3 months or so. If you want me to do a specific video on staining, for example, let me know in the comments below and we will do some experiments with different methods of removing stains. Leave a comment below and I will be more than happy to make that video. I think it could be quite fun. Thank you very much for your time today, guys. I hope that if you are considering Invisalign, that you do get it. I know I've been moaning on about refinements, but honestly, I still think this is very, very worth it. I still love it. My love for it has not changed. If you are already on Invisalign, of course, I wish you a very pleasant and successful journey and hopefully no refinements. That is it for this update video. I will update you guys again in around about 3 months. And like I say, if there's something you want to see, let me know. If you like this video, please leave a like down below. And if you'd like to see any more of my content, then feel free to hit that subscribe button. That's it for this one, guys. Bye-bye.